Hi, I'm Ramon. I'm originally from a small little town in El Centro, California, southeastern corner of California. It's a grand total of, I think, about 20,000 people when I grew up. And so I started tennis at 16, mostly as a way to lose weight because I was 50 pounds overweight as a kid. And I had a friend named Josh who looked like Bruce Lee. And I was like, well, what is this guy doing? How is he doing this? And he said, Ramon, come out and play tennis one day, you know. And I said, no, I was really embarrassed. I thought I'd probably be bad, which inevitably I was. But he convinced me to do it if for no other reason, if I could look half as good as him one day, you know, it would be a good day at the office. So that's how I got started. And then I actually ended up winning a doubles championship with my partner John that year. And that's kind of when things springboarded. And that's when I decided, hey, there's something to this tennis thing, and eating Raisin Bran was the other part of the equation to losing weight. But so anyway, so I started playing. I was studying violin at the time, so it didn't make a whole lot of sense to pursue a college career in tennis. I figured violin would probably be better off because I had been playing violin since I was 8. But I ended up playing a lot and, you know, not going to class and playing tennis, you know, for my non-music classes. I played a lot of tennis and basically that's how it got started. Then I got friends who started asking me to teach them how to play tennis because they saw that I was getting pretty good. And that's kind of how the whole coaching thing took off. My greatest strength in tennis is probably being able to call call the ball out as quickly as possible without the other guy really noticing. I found confidence when calling the ball out is key. You got to do it quickly. No, I'm kidding. Of course, it's. I think probably my greatest strength is just being able to forget. You know, is whether or not it's been a good point or a bad point. I'm generally able to move past whatever just happened and just stay in the moment. You know, I'd say that's probably it. These days actually might be my wife, who I met on the tennis court. She came in for a lesson, and before you think stereotype, this is the first student I'd ever dated, and I made a good decision because she's an amazing woman. We play doubles twice a week, if not more, and now my daughter actually starting to get into it. She's just about to turn 8 years old and is loving it. So those are probably my biggest influences now, as well as all of the thousands of people that I get to coach online, which is an amazing thing, getting to help people all over the world with their tennis. It's pretty cool. The reason I started coaching online was mostly because I couldn't help as many people as I wanted to one-to-one. You know, there aren't enough hours in the day, and I knew there was a huge opportunity to reach a ton of people all over the world and help people with their game and really find the fun in the fundamentals of tennis and get a chance to kind of express my quirky sense of humor through video, you know, which, you know, you have the added advantage of not seeing if people love the video or they hated it. You can just put it out there and you read all the cool messages and ignore all the bad ones. So that's probably how I got started. You know, that's a tough question. I'd say it's probably pretty laid back for the most part. You know, I always try to make sure that 3 things happen in every lesson that I teach. Number 1, that they have a good time, they enjoy themselves, they get a chance to really experience the way I view tennis, which is a really fun way to stay in shape for the rest of your life. It would be number 1, they have fun. Number 2 is they improve. So whatever your goals are, if you're looking to improve your technique, you're looking to improve your strategy, you're looking for a way to beat that guy at the club that just keeps sticking it to you, I want to give you those tools and give you an ability to take your game to the next level. And number 3 is that it's safe, you know, and you don't get injured. You're practicing sound biomechanics. I think so many injuries happen because we're just practicing with a technique that isn't necessarily the way our body is meant to work. So giving people a way to stay pain-free in tennis for the rest of their lives. And that would be my coaching style, as well as some goofy jokes that I spared no expense in humiliating myself if it means I get a smile on your face and it helps get the message across, whatever that might be. Oh man, that's a great question, because the thing about coaching on video is, you know, I kind of put a video out there and then I don't really get the opportunity to see how it's being perceived. So I really have to think in advance of how I'm going to demonstrate whatever it is that we're working on that day. and in a way that has the highest probability of not only being received, but having the impact that we're looking for, which is you taking your game to the next level. So I guess it's been a way of thinking through not only the way I see how to hit a good shot, but how you might possibly learn. So really explaining it in the way of what you're going to see, what you're going to hear, what you're going to feel, and really describing it from as many different angles as possible so it reaches the most number of people possible. Well, I had a chance to learn a lot because I made a ton of mistakes. And, I guess when it all comes down to it is you have to be willing to try new things. If you always do what you've always done, then the old saying goes, you'll always get what you've always got. So making mistakes has literally been the single most important factor when it comes to getting better at stuff. That includes as a player, in terms of how I take care of my body, how I stretch, how I strength train, how I train, and as a coach, how I go about planning each lesson, which I didn't used to do when I first started coaching. Just get out on the courts, whack a bunch of balls around, and call it a day. And after seeing, a lot of people actually drop out because of that approach, I've decided how important it is to really plan each lesson in as great a detail as possible with you in mind and what exactly you need. And that plan might change, it might be flexible, but to at least have a really solid plan that's part of a larger plan going in has been, the greatest improvement I've seen as a coach and as a result of what my players have been able to accomplish. Well, if you're a young tennis player, I'd say number one is make sure you love it. Make sure you're having a great time, because if you love tennis and you love what you're doing, you're going to want to keep doing it. And you're probably going to get a heck of a lot better than if you're just kind of doing it, because someone's forcing you to do it or because you should be doing it. I think to really make sure you're having a good time doing it would be number one. And then number two is just, develop a foundation that's going to allow you to play at a high level or whatever level you want to play at for the rest of your life. And those are the sound fundamentals that I kind of interweave into all of my videos, in the middle of kangaroos hopping around the court and, bad jokes, is really giving a foundation of fundamentals that kind of lend themselves to success in tennis. So have a good time and then develop a really strong foundation and then be willing to practice. I think that's the kind of the dark, the elephant in the room, so to speak, is you can't just sit in a corner and visualize and get good at stuff. You got to actually be willing to go out and do it and practice it. But if you're having a good time doing it, that won't be a problem. So those are the three things. I think the thing I enjoy most about coaching is, getting to interact with people. And, I'm naturally pretty introverted. I can sit in a corner and, meditate for an hour and be totally fine and just kind of be in my own world. But being as a coach, you climb into the other person's psychology and you get a chance to kind of see things from their perspective. So that'd be number one. And number two is just seeing the light bulb go off. When you've been struggling with a forehand for months and, you can't seem to get the topspin you want, and then we do that one thing in our lesson that allows the light bulb to go off and for it to click, just the joy that students and clients have told me they get from that is a really amazing thing. And then also changing lives. It's kind of a cliche, but sometimes people's ability to become a better tennis player can give them confidence, to go out and do other stuff that's really impactful. So it's kind of a gateway. And I saw that for myself, being a really shy kid, lacking confidence and not really having a whole lot of physical, anything to be proud of. And then going and having some success in tennis has kind of rewired the way that I see myself. And I think that has potential for other people as well. Man, I've had a lot of injuries, and they've all been very good in that, you learn from them. But probably the worst one was I had an MCL injury a few years ago that basically the inner part of my knee, I was going after a ball and just made a really quick move. And that thing just took forever to heal. And it's literally forced me to stay on my, I call it prehab now, strength training, my legs, stretching, flexibility, all of that stuff, is really key to overcoming that injury. And each injury has kind of taught me a new way, to take care of my body, to make sure I'm warming up properly, and to also teach in a way that really virtually eliminates the risk of injury if you do it right. So that would be it, the MCL. Ooh, that's a tough one. Probably the moment me and my high school buddy actually won our league. My senior year in high school, my second year playing tennis, we won the entire league. And it was a huge moment because, as I said, I was never seen as an athlete. I never viewed myself as an athlete. And all of a sudden, I was a champion in a sport that I had just really taken up. So that was huge. It was kind of a springboarding moment and allowed me to really change the way that I looked at myself and change the way I saw what was possible for me. Federer, enough said. I don't think there's a whole lot to say other than, look at the guy. Look at the way he plays. Look at his style. Look at his results. I know a lot of people out there, you might be watching saying Nadal, and yeah, Nadal's amazing, but to me, it's no contest. It's Federer. Federer and Serena. Yeah, I think Serena, she just got out of having a baby, but I don't think you can argue with her results, and Federer for all the reasons we just talked about. Man, there's a lot of good ones. I really like Sasha Zverev. I think he's probably going to be the next number one after this group of guys goes away. if that ever happens, they might just keep playing. Who knows? But Zverev, Shapovalov, I really like watching. Rublev. Man, there's so many of them. I know you asked for one. Probably, if I had to say one, would be Zverev. Basically be willing to do anything it takes to put a smile on people's faces. And my wife a lot of times makes fun of me for some of the stuff that I do in my videos and some of the stuff that I do in my lessons. I just think we learn so much better in a relaxed setting. And it's not fun for me to sit there and say, you got to hit 10,000 forehands in a row or it's all over. I really like to keep it light and keep it fun whatever way possible. If it means, hopping around like a kangaroo with my 6-year-old students or, talking about funny stuff with my adult clients or videos, that's just something I'm willing I'm willing to publicly humiliate myself if it means that you get better at tennis. How's that? That's pretty good. It depends, I guess, what you mean by play. I mean, I hit tennis balls every day, whether it's in coaching or with my wife. Play competitive tennis probably 3 times a week. I play some doubles with my buddy Bill, who's a great guy, and play a couple times on the weekend with some local friends at the park. So yeah, a few times a week, I'd say. Definitely my wife. She's the most fun and the best looking, so we'll go with her. Yes, absolutely. Tennis is a great sport, and I had a coach one time who said, you don't play tennis to stay in shape, you stay in shape to play tennis, and that's absolutely true. Anytime I've ever gotten injured, it's because I kind of lagged on the cross training, and I was just playing a ton of tennis, and you just need to give your body different ways to train, to strengthen all that connective stuff, all those little connective muscles that we have. And cross training is definitely the way to do that. Yes. If you never tried tennis, yes, you should you should definitely play it if you like fun ways to stay in shape. It's absolutely never too late. In fact, my doubles partner Bill started, I think, at 58, and him and I are playing. He's playing at a really high level. It's probably a 3.5 or 4.0, and he just loves it. You get out there every day. It's social. You get to meet new people. It's a great way, as I said, to stay in shape, and you should definitely try it. It's an amazing, fun time. Yes, I'm a huge football fan, huge LA Chargers now fan. Watch them every Sunday, and the San Diego Padres also, baseball. Those are my big 3, I'd say. That's a tough one. Probably something along the line, I think it was Napoleon Hill who said, if you can see it and you can believe it, you can achieve it. And boy, has that been true. I think when you really focus on what you want and you can almost like suspend disbelief that it hasn't happened yet, but that it's going to happen, I think that's really, really powerful. and I think it's definitely the driving force behind what I do every day. So that would be it. Thanks so much for watching this interview. I had a great time, and I look forward to seeing you again in some of my future videos. Take care.